Hello, and thanks for joining me on Life and Surround. Today, it is my absolute immense pleasure to share with you some thoughts on number 13 in the SDE Surround series. This is Duran's new current album, Danse Macabre. Danse Macabre, if I am hearing, the way they're singing it properly. Okay, so Danse Macabre by Duran. I am here holding the SDE Surround Series exclusive Blu-ray audio, which features the album in stereo and Atmos, both mixed by Bob Clearmountain. And so we're going to talk more about this album, about the immersive mix and how you can access it. We're going to talk more about the Surround series and SDE, and I'm going to put this Blu-ray down pretty soon. Here's the slip sleeve. I never unfold them. I just don't know how. I'm just terrified of creasing them, so I'm just not going to do it. Comes with a rather informative booklet. You get production notes, and you get to learn, who plays on what. And then here's the Blu-ray. Looking awfully blue, like it can definitely tolerate some Blu-rays. There we go. And then inside the case, you get a Ouija board. You get a Ouija board. You get an Ouija board. Anyway, so Danse Macabre, it is an album themed after a fun Halloween party. The band set out to put out an album that could be the fun soundtrack to a Halloween party. And so given that it does have some macabre moments, I don't think it overdoes it. I don't think it overdoes it on the spookiness. I think they err on the side of fun. These tracks are mainly upbeat and danceable, though there is sort of a fun, spooky quality. Okay, like maybe like Michael Jackson's Thriller. Now, speaking of songs from other groups, from other songwriters, Danse Macabre features 6 covers by the likes of Billie Eilish, the Rolling Stones, Talking Heads, Susie and the Banshees, and more. It also features 3 older Duran songs reworked, and then it features 3 or 4 new songs. There are 13 tracks on this album, okay? So it's not only lucky number 13 in the Surround series, but there are 13 tracks on this album. It is intentionally themed after, like a fun Halloween vibe. And yeah, so first impression, listening through to Bob Clearmountain's Atmos mix for the first time, my impression is this is a fun album. You definitely get a sense that there's some reworked material and some brand new stuff. But the album seems to me to hold together rather well. I enjoyed my listen. I didn't feel like there was any huge jump in sound quality from one track to another. It feels cohesive. And I rather like the title track. And then if you want something nostalgic or something familiar to hang your hat on, you could start with, Paint It Black, the Rolling Stones cover. So there's a lot to sink your teeth into here. I feel like there's something in it for a lot of different music fans, for a wide variety of fans. I'm not sure where I would position this album in the overall pantheon of Duran, though I tend to really follow them more for their singles than for their albums in any case. So there's definitely some catchy stuff here. There's some fun stuff here. This should be a rewarding listen to a lot of fans. And then if you follow this channel, you know that Bob Clearmountain is one of the gods in my surround and immersive, mixing engineer, pantheon of just the greatest of the greatest. Bob Clearmountain is one of the greatest. For many, many, many years, planted his flag in the 5.1 world, but then upgraded his studio, mixed this in Santa Monica, which I really do hope to visit sometime soon. I would love that. He upgraded to Atmos. And so now, from what I understand, he mainly mixes like straight to Atmos. And then if you want to experience playback in 5.1, the good news is that Atmos is built on a bed of Dolby True HD master. So if you've been used to enjoying surround titles over the last several years in 5.1, 7.1, something like that, the good news is Atmos is backwards compatible to that. You actually, with Atmos, you start with True HD as your bed mix, as your ear level mix. And then metadata contained in the bit stream actually expands like the 3D information, okay, out into the room. So whether you actually pre-ordered, Danse Macabre from SDE as a part of their surround series, and therefore, whether you are holding a copy of the Blu-ray or, soon to get it, or whether you missed this pre-order, I encourage you to check out Danse Macabre in any way you can. It's available on CD, vinyl records. There was the SDE Blu-ray. You can still stream it, on whatever streaming service you happen to prefer, Spotify, or if you want to stream it in Atmos, I'm aware that it's already up on Apple Music, and it's probably up on Tidal and Apple Music's competitors. All right, so then to touch further on the SDE Surround series, these titles are driven off of a fairly brief pre-order, though one that I find to be reasonable. If you have your ear to the rail and you are looking currently in real time for new or immersive surround content, you need to subscribe to SDE's newsletter. And then I don't know, with like maybe after a purchase or two, like I get email alerts about, like the newly announced SDE Surround Series titles. So subscribe to their newsletter, and then also like specifically on the Danse Macabre Blu-ray page on SDE.com, you can click the notify button, for, if new copies become available, like could be possible cancellations, like maybe somebody thought it was a CD and it, the Blu-ray can't play in their CD player, or maybe there will be a reprint. That doesn't happen with all SDE Surround Series titles, but it does happen. I, at this point, think it's the exception, not the rule, but reprints do happen. And hitting that notify me button definitely tells SDE that there's interest, a waiting list. You could be the recipient of like found stock, like, there could be a box of these in a janitor's closet somewhere. So follow SDE, do whatever you can, leave comments below. If there's some option, there's, some notify me option or RSS feed, or just, some way that you follow SDE, Twitter or X or whatever, whatever. Let's all figure out how to be following this series, because, this series already is full of super exciting titles. And I am just like absolutely enthralled. I'm totally intrigued with where it's going to go in the future. Paul at SDE is not only the curator of the site, he's, a chief editor, and he's a friend of quadrophonic.com, and he is a lover of surround and immersive music, and he's a believer in delivering lossless Atmos quality immersive music. So Atmos on Blu-ray, he's a believer in delivering that to you at the lowest possible cost whenever it's within his control. So this whole concept that often there are surround or immersive titles locked in an expensive box set, Tombs, tired of mega box sets, like he agrees. So he's doing what he can as often as possible to offer up standalone Blu-rays, which give you Atmos and stereo, high resolution in lossless quality. So you just don't have to wonder if it might sound better, than like the streaming thing that you're hearing, or if the title someday gets taken down off of streaming, or if your neighborhood loses internet connection for a day or a week or a month or however long. You have a copy, you can play it, you can enjoy it. So anyway, I love that the SDE surround series exists. I appreciate that Paul, who curates it, is an absolutely totally nice dude, that he is a friend of Quadraphonic Quad. He often responds to messages and posts there. He is a lover of surround and immersive and is really doing this from a place deep down in his heart. So I just encourage everyone to enjoy the SDE surround series as much as possible, and to support the SDE surround series as much as possible. I really find it to be one of the most exciting things in surround or immersive music at this present time. All right, so this could really be like, Life in Surround Thanksgiving 2023 Part 2. I mentioned in my previous video that I'm thankful for the surround series. And then lo and behold, Danse Macabre, showed up, with perfect timing, and I've been able to enjoy it. It's wonderful. I love Duran. They are super fun. You have excellent playing on this album. The entire classic lineup, LeBon, Rhodes, all three Taylors, even Nile Rodgers and some other guests. Now, Andy Taylor is not an official member of the group for this album, but he plays on almost every track. I don't know if they had him recently enough in the studio for the new stuff, and then they reworked plenty of old stuff, but it seems like he's pretty much on almost everything. Like I see his name on everything but a couple of tracks. So this is essentially, a Duran album from the core, most classic lineup. They sound great. They have received a really good Bob Clearmountain Atmos mix. I haven't listened to very much in stereo other than checking out some things, like some preview material on YouTube. So Bob Clearmountain mixing into multi-channel, you better have a profoundly good center speaker. He mixes a lot of his work into your center. So get as close to full range as you can and just have it be like the highest quality that you can, maybe a match for the front, left, and right if you can. He mixes lead vocal, snare, kick drum, some hi-hat, bass guitar, like all the stuff that should be like dead down the middle. He mixes predominantly to the center channel. He doesn't just mix like mainly to the front, left, and right and then reinforce with the center. No, that center channel is getting a workout. So be aware of that. Knowing that that's the case, I have definitely oriented my systems a bit to be able to reproduce what he had in mind. So, 5.1 and beyond is meant to be played on, an ear level channels that are all full range. You're not supposed to have, giant channels up front and then tiny surrounds and fill out the sound with a subwoofer. You're supposed to have full range channels plus a subwoofer. All right. And so Bob Clearmountain makes very, very, very heavy use of the center channel, maybe heavier than any other engineer that I know. And so if you have a deficient center channel, that may affect your happiness here. Okay. So that's all I'm saying. Wanted to give you a heads up. The way that we have our systems arrayed, does matter. It, definitely can, alter our experience. I'm not listening from a super high grade system. I have Frankensteined my system together over the years from parts that I could afford, but that were well reviewed and that I reasonably thought would, be pleasant for me. Obviously, like, budget is a thing for a great many of us, if not like most or all of us, okay, watching this channel. I don't know if there's any billionaires watching this channel. If so, become my patron, okay? But yeah, I've put together a modest system. It is a full 7.2.4 system. So it's, that full Atmos specification for your home. It can handle every RO3D release I've seen so far, at least on Blu-ray. I know that like sometimes these systems can go to like 16 point whatever. But anyway, I'm on a 7.2.4 system. It's a full home system. Well chosen per my taste, per my, my knowledge, my preferences, and on a budget. Okay. So it's not like I'm listening to like absolute serendipity. Like a good engineer should make an album sound good on your system. It really should. But with the, up to like 11 channels, there's lots of room for you to not have your system configured the way the engineer meant. Okay. And so like Bob Clearmountain mixing a lot of information into his center is just a good heads up for you. Okay. All right. So I hope you have enjoyed this video. I hope you have found it useful. I am going to leave links for SDE, the surround series, that sort of stuff, down in the description. So be sure to check the description. If you like what I do, don't forget to like, subscribe, ring the notification bell, comment, share this video far and wide, any place, any situation that you deem to be relevant. Enjoy Danse Macabre by Duran if it is your thing, one way or another, in stereo or in Blu-ray Atmos. There's eBay, there's Discogs, maybe SDE will send you a copy eventually. There's streaming Atmos, and there may be downloads and stuff that I haven't even like thought of. All right, so enjoy it if you want to, any way that you can. And also, don't forget to live life in surround.